this screencast here is just to give you a quick overview and introduction to graphics. Technical graphics is by its nature technical drawing. As you can see here on the screen, there'll be a number of items you use to do drawings, such as your T-square here, called because it's in the shape of a T, and your set squares here, which look like triangular rulers. You'll also be using compasses, which you may be familiar with from mathematics. Really, technical graphics is all about drawing logos, shapes, and even real life things like buildings to actual scale and actual measurement as well. So for example, you'll be learning how to use T-squares, set squares to do accurate and to scale measurement drawings. You'll look at, say, replicating real life signage. You'll see here the first aid sign. You'll be very familiar with this. You'll have seen this around the school and just in the wider community as well. You'll also be looking at different signs, replicating those, replicating icons, for example the email icon there, and you'll also be looking at doing proper lettering as well to scale. So you'll see this version here of graphics here is all done with the same height and same width for each of those letters. Graphics is by its nature, technical graphics, quite closely related to mathematics. So if you're good at maths, technical graphics could be a good option for you. So a lot of the things we would have looked at in first year and we will be continuing to look at in second year is constructions. Constructions tie over to maths as well. So for example, you'll be looking at things like bisecting lines and angles, getting correct measurements between those two, and you'll use your compass and pencil just like you would in a maths class. You'll be looking at calculating angles, calculating different types of angles, and dividing lines and angles in correct ratios. So for example, you'll be looking at dividing lines and maybe looking at locating midpoints of triangles. So you'll be using compasses to draw and find out where exactly those measurements are. So this is kind of some of the work you'll be doing in class as well. You'll also be looking at the likes of shape. Here we have, for example, in this one, looking at triangles and calculating missing angles in triangles. So here you can see as well the maths element playing, because any triangle of course is 180 degrees. So for example, this one you'll be adding 60 and 80, adding those two up and then taking away from 180 to get your missing angle there as well. So a bit of maths involved as regards that. You'll also be looking at different shapes such as circles and tangents, maybe recreating some logos here. And if we have a look at some of those questions there, we can see looking at drawing, for example, circles that touch two lines at a particular point. You'll notice in technical graphics you get these measurements here, 25 and 25. They're always in millimeters, and you'll draw accurate points of contact then. So it will allow you to draw a perfect circle that will just touch two lines at just one place on each particular line. You'll also be looking at the likes of buildings and the likes of orthographic projections as well, seeing what buildings would look like from certain angles. So here you'll examine these different objects and see which one match up to which particular shape. So that kind of gives you folks an overview of some of the basics involved in technical graphics. You'll also be having a look at the likes of freehand sketching, so slightly similar to art in that regard, looking at sketching some particular items in particular, and we'll also be looking at more advanced isometric drawing in second and third year, again recreating certain drawings. And again, you'll see here what we mean by technical graphics, technical drawing. It is very particular measurements and very particular angles that you will need to calculate and follow. So folks, I hope that gives you some kind of overview of what to expect if you do choose technical graphics as one of your subjects. What I would say is technical graphics is a good subject to choose if you are good at art, you're good at drawing, and you're also good at maths. It really brings those two worlds together, the world of art and the world of maths, to do technical drawings to replicate real life buildings and real life problems on paper. Hope this helps, guys, and thanks for listening.